Your alarm goes off at 6:47. You lie there for exactly 2 snooze cycles. You drag yourself to the kitchen, the coffee maker clicks on, you open your phone while it brews. You go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, splash water on your face, and stare at yourself for a second longer than you meant to. Then you come back to the kitchen, pour the coffee, sit down, maybe scroll, maybe just stare at the wall. You eat something, or you don't. You check the time. It's already later than you thought. You go back to the bedroom, put on your clothes, find your shoes. They're where you left them. They're always where you left them. And you lace them up standing, because sitting back down feels like giving in. You grab your bag, you grab your keys. Somewhere behind you, a tail moves. Just once. And that's your Monday morning. The routine. The half-awake, coffee and autopilot routine you've done so many times, your body does it without you. But while you're doing all of that, your dog already knows. They knew before your alarm even went off. They knew from your breathing, from the way you moved, from something in you that you can't even name. And what happens in the next 4 minutes after that door closes, you have never seen it. You probably couldn't watch if you tried. Here's the thing nobody tells you. The separation doesn't start when you leave. It starts the moment you pick up your keys. Deadass, before you've touched the door handle, before you've said goodbye, before the 2-second pet, the be good, the little ritual you don't even think about anymore, your dog's stress response is already running. This was first documented in the 1980s by veterinary behaviorists Patrick Pajat and Peter Borchelt, who identified what they called departure cue conditioning, the way dogs learn, over months and years of watching you, to read a precise sequence of signals that predict one outcome. You're about to disappear. The shoes, the bag, the keys. Each one is a data point. By the time you reach the keys, the prediction is locked in. In those final 90 seconds before you leave, their cortisol is rising, their heart rate is climbing, their ears are tracking every sound you make. They may look calm, lying on the floor, head down, eyes on you from across the room, but underneath that stillness, everything is already in motion. They are watching you leave while you are still there. And every single morning while you were pouring your coffee and checking your phone and thinking about traffic, your dog was quietly, faithfully calculating the moment they'd lose you. Every single morning. Not because something is wrong with them, because something is exactly right. Because they love you with a precision your brain isn't even built to match. The door closes. 0, 0, 0. For a beat, nothing. The dog is at the door, nose to the gap, ears forward, like the house itself is holding its breath. 1:30. Pacing begins. Door to couch, couch to door. The heart rate, already elevated before you even left, keeps climbing. Norepinephrine is flooding the system, the same neurochemical your body releases in fight or flight. Your dog's brain is registering your absence the same way it would register a threat. 3:15. Vocalization, barking, whining, howling. This is the average onset, documented in the University of Milan's 2010 hidden camera study of 23 dogs across multiple separation events. They're not being dramatic. This is a distress call. Evolutionarily, it's the same sound a wolf pup makes when it's been separated from the pack. That's what your dog is doing while you're already in your car with the aux cord plugged in. 7 o'clock. If destruction is going to happen, it happens here. Couch cushions, baseboards, shoes, and it is never the ones you don't care about. But here's the thing, this isn't bad behavior. It's not spite. It's a physiological coping mechanism. Physical activity releases tension. Chewing activates the jaw, which has a documented calming effect on the nervous system. Your dog isn't destroying your house. They're trying to survive the next hour. 10 o'clock. This is where it either plateaus or doesn't. Some dogs pace until exhaustion. Some go silent in a way that looks like calm, but isn't. The cortisol stays elevated. The norepinephrine stays elevated. The part of the brain that manages impulse control stays essentially offline. Your dog is not making choices right now. They are being driven. And then, somewhere between 8 and 15 minutes, it goes quiet. The barking stops, the pacing slows.
If you opened that door right now, you would walk into a house that looked fine. Dog on the floor, maybe. Dog on the couch. Quiet. Still. You'd think, okay, they settled. They're good. Here's what the cameras in the Milan study actually showed. Panting still elevated, heart rate still high, body posture low, compressed, unrelaxed, chin down, eyes at the door, everything pulled inward. The dog hadn't calmed down. The dog had stopped signaling. There's a term for this. Martin Seligman first described it in Helplessness, his 75 foundational work, and called it behavioral shutdown. When distress continues without resolution, when the distress call gets no response again and again, the organism, your dog, stops trying. Not because the pain is gone, because they've learned that nothing they do changes what happens next. You're probably at your desk by now, coffee going cold, already into your first meeting, and at home, your dog is lying very still, chin on their paws, eyes on the door. Not sleeping, waiting, in the only way they have left. The silence is not peace. The silence is a dog that has given up on being heard. That distress doesn't trend down in a straight line throughout the day. Research, including work by animal behaviorist Dr. Alexandra Horowitz and teams studying cortisol and behavioral markers in domestic dogs, shows the distress cycles, roughly every 23 to 28 minutes. A spike, a quiet period, another spike, back down, over and over for as long as you're gone. If you came home after hour 2, your dog might seem completely fine. If you came home after hour 3 and happened to hit a spike, complete chaos. You'd think it was random. You'd never see the pattern unless you watched the whole tape. Now, compare that to what the Swedish University of Agricultural Sciences documented in dogs without separation anxiety. 97% passive behavior when alone, just waiting, resting, napping, occasionally checking the door, calm in a way that looks almost indifferent. The difference between that dog and your dog isn't breed, it's not genetics, not primarily. It comes down to one variable: early attachment experiences and the anxiety baseline of the owner. Think about that for a second. The same way chronic stress in a parent reshapes a child's nervous system, not through intention, but through proximity and pattern, your own unresolved anxiety has a measurable effect on your dog's baseline stress response. They didn't arrive this way. They were calibrated to you, which means the thing nobody wants to hear isn't really about your dog at all. It's about you. Flip the camera around. In 2019, researchers at Linköping University in Sweden published findings from a study of 58 dog owner pairs. They measured cortisol levels in both, taken from hair samples, tracking long-term stress hormones, not just situational spikes. The correlation between owner and dog cortisol was stronger than almost any other variable they tested, stronger than breed, stronger than lifestyle, stronger than how much exercise the dog got. Your long-term stress level was tracking yours. Your Monday morning rush, your work anxiety sitting in your chest before you've even gotten dressed, the tightness in your voice when you say goodbye, the way you move through the house when you're running late. Your dog absorbed all of it, processed it, stored it. And here's the part that matters. You weren't doing any of this on purpose.
You weren't trying to wire your dog's nervous system to your stress response. You were just living your life, and they were just loving you, close enough to feel everything. You are not just leaving your dog alone. You are leaving your dog alone while they are already activated by you. That's not a reason for guilt. That's a reason to know better. Let's talk about the fixes, because I know you've tried things. The TV feels like it should work. Background noise, familiar voices, but multiple studies, including research published in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior, show no measurable effect on cortisol or behavioral distress markers. Your dog is not comforted by the Today Show. Sorry. Puzzle toys. Better in theory. The problem, once the food is gone, on average within the first 11 minutes, documented in behavioral enrichment studies, the toy doesn't become neutral. It becomes evidence that you're still not back. It can actually spike frustration, not reduce it.
getting a second dog. A 2021 study of 77 dogs in multi-dog households found that male dogs actually vocalized more when left alone in pairs. Having company does not automatically resolve separation anxiety. Sometimes it just means two dogs panicking together. The solutions that actually work are less intuitive, and they require more from you. Graduated exposure, starting with seconds, not minutes. You leave for 10 seconds. You come back. The dog doesn't spiral. You build from there. 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 5. You're not just training behavior. You're conditioning a new prediction. Leaving doesn't mean gone forever. The 40-minute threshold is where this work pays off. Research tracking behavioral and cortisol markers, including longitudinal work from the University of Bristol's Veterinary Behavior Unit, shows that dogs who can pass 40 minutes without a major spike show significantly more manageable distress profiles for the remainder of the separation. The first 40 minutes is the whole game, and your departure routine matters as much as the training. The Linkokin data already told you this. Your dog's nervous system is synchronized to yours. A calm, consistent exit, same sequence, low energy, no prolonged goodbyes, is itself an intervention. You are part of the protocol. For dogs with clinical-level separation anxiety, not mild distress, but full shutdown, a randomized controlled trial on fluoxetine combined with behavior modification showed 73% improvement in separation anxiety scores. Medication isn't giving up. Sometimes it's what makes the behavioral work possible at all. These aren't separate options. They work in layers. The graduated exposure builds the foundation. The departure routine reduces the activation before it starts. The medication, when needed, creates the neurological space for the training to take hold. Here's the one that changed how I think about all of this. The Royal Veterinary College's Generation Pup Study, one of the largest longitudinal studies of dog behavior ever conducted, found that how you come home matters more than how you leave. Dogs whose owners returned home and reacted with frustration or anger to damage or accidents were 6 times more likely to develop chronic separation problems over time. 6 times. And almost nobody knows this, because it feels logical. You came home, you saw the damage, you reacted. That's a normal human response. The problem is your dog's brain doesn't work on the same timeline as yours. They don't have that kind of temporal processing. They can't connect your frustration to what happened 4 hours ago. They connect it to you arriving, to the door opening, to your face. So gradually, slowly, over weeks and months, your arrival becomes something to brace for, something uncertain, something that might come with anger. And a dog that was already cycling through stress all day now has one more variable to dread. Not just your leaving, you're coming back. Your dog doesn't have a leaving problem. They have a returning problem, and it started the day you came home angry about the sofa cushion. That wasn't cruelty. That was a Tuesday. That was you, tired and frustrated, not knowing what you didn't know. Now you know, which means the next time that door opens, the way your face looks, the energy you bring in, the first 10 seconds after the threshold, that's where the work is. Come in calm. Come in low. Let them reach you before you react to the room. That's the whole intervention, right there at the door. Same alarm, 6:47. Same 2 snooze cycles, same coffee, same shoes, same keys. But now you see it differently, don't you? Your dog isn't dramatic. They're not broken or difficult or badly trained. They are a nervous system that has been calibrated to yours, tuned over months and years to read every signal you make. They learned what your alarm means. They learned what the keys sound like. They learned what the weight of silence feels like when you've been gone an hour, and then 2, and then 6. They learned all of that because you are, for them, the organizing principle of their entire world. The science is real. The cortisol is real. The 23-minute cycles and the learned helplessness and the synchronized stress responses, all of it is real. But so is this. You still have tomorrow morning. Same routine, same door. Maybe 5 minutes earlier. Maybe you move through the house a little slower, a little quieter. Maybe you sit on the floor with them for a second before the keys go in your hand. Maybe you come home the way you'd want someone to come home to you. It won't undo everything, but it changes the prediction. And there's one more thing the research shows. Something quieter than cortisol levels and behavioral markers, but as just documented. Dogs whose owners change these patterns show measurable recovery. The nervous system that learned fear can learn safety. The same mechanism that built the anxiety can rebuild around something else. On the other side of that door right now, a dog is waiting, not dramatically, just completely, the way they always have. Changing the prediction is everything, and it starts the moment you reach for the keys, just like it always did. Only this time, you know what they're listening for.